that they have a liberty to do. There is a craziness that sometimes shows up. Maybe it's not your kids, just mine. But when I show up, my presence just changes their whole disposition. First Lady often tells me that when you're not here, Jordan acts differently than when you are here. Because there's something about your presence that has more power to influence his behavior. You must understand that you cannot be so impressed by your presence that you miss that there is a greater presence that can destroy yokes and lift burdens. And the only way you can get into that presence is you got to be connected to 2 or 3 other brothers in the kingdom. That's the reason the word said where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there in the midst I will be. That's the reason I'm excited about coming to church, because I know it's going to be at least 2 folk that came up in here in the name of the Lord. I don't care about the hypocrites, because all I need is about 2 folk that came in the name of the Lord, and there's a presence that can show up that can chase away every demon that's been trying to come against me. There's a presence that can show up that can deal with every broken place that's been trying to hold me down. I don't care if you got adultery in your life. I don't care if you've been struggling with drugs. All I need is about 2 or 3 people that came in, and y'all gonna be, I know this too real for you, that came in the real somebody ought to shout glory in here. I don't know where we get this whole idea of self-righteousness. Notice how the enemy will try to make us stay isolated because we have figured out what's wrong with everybody else. As if, we don't want to go into a church that's imperfect. But even if you found the perfect church, the minute you showed up, it'd be imperfect all over again. All I need is just somebody that's got enough faith to come in the name of the Lord. I don't need to know about what you did yesterday. I just need to know if you came to glorify God. Somebody ought to shout glory in here. You must understand that when we talk about covenant, that covenant is fundamentally relational. Because it enters us into the presence of God. And the word says that in the presence of God there is the fullness of joy, and there are pleasures forevermore. Follow the logic of the argument. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there in the midst I will be. That's a congregation. If he shows up, his presence is what gives me the fullness of joy and gives me pleasures forevermore. So if I want pleasure and I want to have the fullness of joy, I got to be in a community with folks that came to show up in the name of the Lord. Oh, I feel something pushing me right along in here, because typically we get in a whole lot of trouble when we start trying to tell each other that we need one another in order to experience the full presence of God. But I heard Pedro say something earlier that I think so important, that when we recognize our power in community, we can touch and agree and give glory to God in a way that brings down the walls of Jericho and tears down the stronghold of the enemy. Have you ever noticed that when there is one voice lifted up, that it does not have the same power of multiple voices being lifted up? And the more voices that come together up, the greater the sound is that is storming the gates of heaven. When we lift up a communal praise to God, what we do is we say, God, we are touching and agreeing. We are believing for one another. This ain't just about me, but I'm here for my neighbor. I'm here for my brother. I'm here for my sister. I'm not just praising for my child, but I'm praising for her grandbaby. I'm not just here lifting up for my finances, but I'm lifting her up so that God will keep her while she ain't married. Oh, I wonder if I can sense a community praise in here. Oh, I dare you to give somebody a high five and tell them, I came in the name of the Lord. I came to glorify him. I came to magnify him. All I need to know is if I'm touching and agreeing with somebody else that came in his name. So what, you smell like Newport? If you came to, y'all gonna be real in here, if you came to glorify him, look at somebody and tell them, whatever I got on me, it's in my past now. Because right now I came to glorify God. Whatever you think you know about me, It's in my past. But right now I came to glorify God. Whatever you might have seen before I walked in here, it's in my past. But right now I came to glorify God. As a matter of fact, I feel something rising up. I dare about 15 people in here that know they ain't got it all together, but you got enough sense to glorify God. To open your mouth, throw your head back, laugh at the devil, and shout surprise. Feel the power of God. Somebody ought to shout glory in here. It is the actions of God